Welcome back to another week, guys. I am Isabel,
And I'm Tamera.
and together this is Mutual Minds podcast. It's been a long week, and before we get into anything, I want to ask you, what is your peak and your pit of this week? Or I guess in like the last few weeks, if there wasn't anything
Yeah,
this week. We've been like
we've
grinding
been
on DoorDash.
grinding. We've been doing DoorDash like from sunrise to sundown.
There hasn't been many like experiences other than that.
I'm excited. This hasn't happened yet, but we did get invited to our first event here in Austin.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's been consuming my mind because I'm so excited about it. My pit would be okay, yesterday we saw a dead frog and it was
Oh my
sad.
God, I know. That was really sad.
Yeah.
I guess my peak was, I think I would say the same thing. The fact that we're going to our first Austin event, which is really cool because we've been here for like almost 6 months now, and I didn't know like if we would ever get invited to any events here or if people would realize that we moved here. So like that feels really exciting, and it's for the Stanley Cups, which is really cool.
Heck yeah.
And then I would say my pit, maybe that freaking DoorDash stopped being busy today. I made like a decent amount, but I was like, if you could have just gave me one more, I could have reached my goal. But that was kind of my pit, I would
Guys,
say.
this like app has been addicting. Like we can't stop
I keep
checking.
opening the app, even when I know I'm not going to do it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, I just want to see. It's crazy because it's like, it's such a privilege to like now have a car. Because we were staying in New York, we always wanted to be able to like do DoorDash, and that wasn't an option for us. Like, I guess technically we could have, but that would have been
We would
pretty
buy
miserable.
bikes.
Yeah. And now that we do have a car, it's such a privilege to be able to just make a quick amount of cash. And like now we were like relying on it, but like I can't wait for us to like catch back up and then just like have this extra cash just to throw away or to keep it save. It's been really fun, and because we get to do it together, I think that like helps
Oh my
make
god,
it
I
funner.
couldn't imagine some of these orders where you have like 5 drinks and stuff. Like it's so much easier being 2 people.
Yeah. But today's topic, we want to talk about the art of starting over. And I think this has been such a transitional year for us. And there has been so much that has happened. Obviously, most of you guys know we just moved halfway across the country from New York to Austin, Texas. And that alone was really scary and different for us because I've never moved anywhere. I've lived in New York my whole life. You've been in and around different places, but like together, this is like our first time together that we've like done a big move like that.
Yeah.
And now I feel like things have really, I feel like we moved here and things have just been like weird, stressful, overwhelming, lots of thoughts, changing of the mind. There's just been so much.
Yeah. No, I think this move has like sparked so many new conversations that we never had in New York. Like I think in New York we were so focused on being in the moment because just so
I
many
was
things are
floating.
happening. Like
Yeah.
you just like you feel so young there. And I think as soon as we moved here, we like kind of feel
It hit instantly.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like New York, you adapt so fast because if you don't, you're gonna fall behind, kind of thing. But now that we have so much time in Texas to like sit down and reflect and like,
I think too, because we came here doing social media full time, we had no other distractions too to add to that.
Yeah.
That we were just literally sitting here doing content, and when we were not doing content, we're just sitting here thinking all day.
Yeah.
At least in New York, like we had jobs and like the world was just moving so fast, you can't really think about your life really. You just like do whatever you need to do that day.
Yeah.
But like here, like this is the first time in a relationship that we have ever had this much time together and without working, and to just like the mind was really minding.
yeah, like we haven't like talked much about this. Actually, I don't think we've said this at all, even on like TikTok. But like, we keep just having like these random thoughts where we're like, we feel so stagnant here. We've only been here for literally like 5
4
months,
months,
but
yeah.
like, I think because New York is just so overwhelming, the downtime has just like been a complete change.
Yeah.
And it's like uncomfortable to adapt to that, even though it's relaxing and like a peaceful thing.
And it's literally like a drug, because we were even just like, you know what, maybe we should just go back to New York and like go back in the hustle bustle and all this stuff that we literally were crying about, like on the verge of tears, like trying to get away from. And now we're like, okay, this is like too easy, this is too this or that or too relaxing, I need to go back into like hardcore. That it doesn't even make any sense. But I think it's just like your brain is so fixated on like having everything be fast, looking cool, having things like literally, I don't want to say handed to you, but like we had a lot of opportunities in New York.
Yeah.
Where it just felt like everything was like a lot easier because we were getting more brand deals, we were getting more events, and it felt easier to feel cool, I guess. Or like to your friends, or like posting online, it felt easier to make something like inspirational out of a video than here.
I think like we for sure like doing social media, like when we were in New York and we were working, we were like, ugh, like if we could just do social media full time, like this would be the dream, like this would be so awesome. But like at our like caliber, that just isn't realistic in New York City. So then we moved here and we were like, okay, like this is gonna be the life, like we are doing this full time and whatever. But not only has like the influencer social media space changed so much, we're also like
The world is literally about to end.
the world is
Like,
just like
can we
completely
talk about that a little bit? Because it's like really scary. Like, I think we're getting to a point in the world where, to me personally, nothing feels stable. There was once a time, there's this mom I keep seeing on my TikTok.
Yes.
And I love her because she actually is standing up for our generation and the fact that like things have changed, and there's a lot of like boomers and older people that are like, they just want to keep claiming that like we're not doing enough, we're just lazy, we don't want to work, we don't want to do this. But times have definitely changed. And she said that she went to the army, I think, at 17, and because she was in the army, she was able to buy a house with like $12 an hour. She has never paid for health insurance because through the Navy they just give it to you for free. And she was like, well, yeah, it was so easy back then. Like all you had to do is like work hard, like go to the military. Everyone would go to the military because they would give you such nice benefits for everything. And then we were expected like to do the same, but like the world is so different now. You cannot get anywhere with a minimum wage job. You could barely get around with like 40K, which is just crazy to me. And I think the fact that like people are still struggling with full-time jobs nowadays, or you have to just have like a bachelor's to get into this job or get into this, when it's so crazy to me. And
No,
it's sad.
like the fact that it's normal to have a full-time and a part, like to work two jobs is like just not even okay. Like you shouldn't need to work 65 hours just to make ends meet, not save anything, but just to make ends meet. Like that's like not okay.
Or like people would buy houses working at grocery stores, minimum wage.
Yeah. But now it's
not
like
that anymore.
now it's to the point also where like you get a college degree and like you still aren't guaranteed a job, or they're like,
You're
well,
overqualified.
because you have a degree, you're overqualified.
What does that even
But it's like,
mean?
but if I, like, as someone who doesn't have a degree, applied to that same job, I wouldn't get it either.
No,
So
I know.
it's like, what
And
are
then
you talking
you
about?
have like our parents saying like, oh, you guys are just lazy, you don't apply to many jobs anymore. Like back in their day, like they literally could just walk up to like a store that said now is hiring, and it would actually be hiring.
No,
and then they would
heard
go
you.
in and they would sign a little paper, and then they would get the job. Now you like walk around, places say now hiring, they're not hiring.
No, I was
They
just
never call
gonna
you
say,
back.
I heard you listening to a TikTok, and they were saying how, like, it used to just be easy to get a job. But
Yes.
now it's like you scroll for hours on Indeed or LinkedIn, you
Yes.
apply, but you don't just, like, hit apply. You have to upload your resume, you have to, like, tweak your resume to fit what they're asking for.
No, it makes
and
me
then,
so mad when you put in your resume, but then you have to write out what's in your resume.
oh my God.
You might as well just have me write out from the beginning. Why am I putting? Oh my God.
Oh my God,
That's
the
like
most
the number one
irritating
thing that pisses me off.
But then you're not just doing your resume. Then you have to tweak a novel, your cover letter.
Yes.
To like explain further when it literally says.
And it needs to relate to the job. So then you have to keep changing it.
Yeah, but like
every
that's
time.
what the resume's for. The resume
yeah.
says like what you've done, and you kind of change the wording to fit their description.
Yeah.
But like you still have to send in this novel.
I don't even think they read that.
And then like you did that one interview in New York, and they wanted you to do a whole project.
Oh yeah, project. Just to maybe get to the next interview.
The next step, yeah.
It wasn't like you do the project, then you get to start the job. That's like if it's okay of a project. That was after the first interview.
Yes.
Then I had a project, and then if the project was okay, then I needed to go back and do another interview.
But can we talk about how the project you also had to present it to multiple people for 40? It was like a 45-minute presentation to possibly get a job.
Oh my God.
It's almost like too like there's a couple of interviews that we've both been on now where like you go in for the interview and they literally have you working.
Yes.
To see if you're a good fit, and
Is
then they
that
just
not
don't call you
illegal?
back. Like you just
And they
did
don't
literal
pay
free
you.
work. Yeah.
That's
No.
literally illegal. I was gonna say, because I had to do like a project, I can't even imagine like think about like a mother, for example, who's already working a job, and then you're trying to get out of that job and apply to another job. Now you have one job that you have to get out of, and then you are working on this project for another job while also taking care of your kids and like needing to do stuff around the house and go to the grocery store and do like, how do you expect anyone to have time to be doing projects outside of work, jobs, school?
And that's
Like,
another
there's just
thing,
so
like,
much effort.
I feel like the older generations also were so confused and, like, upset that, like, our generation doesn't want to have kids. But it's like, if you have to do all of this on top of taking care of yourself, like, how are you going to take care of another little human at the same time?
Yeah, and we have made a decision to not have kids, at least for now. I guess you never know what could happen in, like, 3 years, but I don't think that is what we want anymore. I think a big part of that was like we wanted to have kids when we were long distance. I think it like gave us something to look forward to. I think when we were long distance, everything was like future based. So like getting the house, getting the first apartment, having kids, having a dog, because that's really all you could talk about when you're like not together. But I think now that we've actually been together for like 6 years, it's like that just sounds horrible. And also, like, from the time that we met each other to now, the world has changed so
Drastically.
much.
Like, we've only been together for 6 years. Like, that's not even a whole century. And, like,
Yeah.
the world is completely different.
I don't even know. Like, when I see people in my high school having children, I'm, like, looking at that like that's, like, a luxury. Like, you are, like, rich if you are able to have children right now. Like, accidents happen, but like the fact that like there's people that are having kids and are like excited about it,
Yeah,
and
like
like
on purpose.
it's like, I'm like, how are you paying?
But it's
for
also
that?
to the point where like I love watching those TikToks of like moms like showing the day in their life with like their 3 kids or whatever, because I'm like, okay, every video I watch is just confirming that this is not for me, because I can barely like take care of myself in the house and like
It's
working and
exhausting.
like doing social media. I could not even fathom.
And it's like one thing if you're able to like be lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom and like watch your kids grow, but like if you have to work in this world like making $12 an hour
in
with
daycare
like your 6
is so
kids,
expensive.
yeah, that's like a
And,
freaking
like,
rent.
taking them to daycare, and then you're rushing to work, and then you go to work, and then you're rushing to pick them up, and then you have to make dinner for them. Like,
It's always the dinner that like takes
the
me
dinner
out.
really like takes me back, because, and it's like, okay, you could get fast
Just for
food,
them to not even like it.
but if you get like food out, like you're buying for multiple people, I barely want to get Chipotle for myself
No.
most days.
I think us being childrenless is like the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened to our
Yeah,
relationship.
no, I'm so glad we both have come to our senses on that.
No, but it's like it's really crazy just like how the world has changed so much. Like especially like I never even thought about the fact that like we were in such a different place in the world when I first met you versus now is just like night and day.
Another thing that's changed is social media. Like it used to be like there were people that were influencers, but you didn't know as much about what they were making and how they were making it. And like now there's so many people that know like the secret. So there's
Yeah,
so
it
many
used to
people
just be
doing
a
it.
thing that you knew was like successful and that like when we started it we knew like it could be something, but you just didn't know like the specifics of literally everything.
Yeah, and now that it's like so easy for not necessarily easy because it does take a lot of work to build up like a really good platform that like you have a good following with like good engagement and everything, but people know like what you need to do to get there. So now everybody's doing it and love that, but also if we're all messaging brands and we're all trying to get brand deals, there's not enough money to go around. And then of course now we're like in a recession, like the world, like the economy right now in the US is just insane. So
A lot of people are not even getting brand deals anymore because of that, just because there's not as much PR and like free stuff that you can just give to somebody, because if you're starting your own business it's like nice to like give PR to like a big like influencer or something, but at the same time you made no money off of that. As like somebody that is like, I'm talking about like the person that is like making the product and you're giving it to like a Monet or like Alex Earl. Even though they post it, you might not be getting any products like
because
selling from that.
regular people like us are also experiencing the
Yeah.
economy going down, so we can't afford to buy the products even if we want them.
So now it's like before, like people like that would post things and they would actually sell out and things would do well. But now everyone is like equally as poor. So now no one is making anything, but there's still people that are entrepreneurs and are like making products and stuff, but no one's buying them anymore. Like I feel like the Amazon storefronts and all of those are kind of just like falling in the back end.
I haven't
because
heard anyone talk about Amazon storefront anymore.
it's like nobody can afford anything anymore. Everything is so expensive besides like on like Black Fridays and stuff, that now it's like this whole job is kind of going backwards, because the whole point is to sell things and to like help people. But if
And
everybody needs help and everyone is poor, how do
there's
you
just
sell
no
things?
money going around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also like I hate to bring this up so often, but also like as a queer couple, like money is already kind of limited to us. Like a lot of times brands don't reach out unless it's June because it's Pride Month, and that's when they're like, oh, this would be perfect. But like we're also here
All the time. This is
the
just
other
who we
11
are.
months. Yeah. So I feel like things are still like a little bit limited for queer people, because I've seen like especially this Pride Month with just how much hate was going on in the world. Like I seen a couple of like our mutuals who did brand deals, and the company got so much hate on the videos that I think it made
Everyone backed out.
other companies back out of like paying us or working with us. So
Which is just sad, because
is
it's
sad.
like you're a company with like millions and billions of dollars, and we are just people trying to make ends meet, and we deal with this like on the daily.
Yeah.
Like you're just a company that can like pay money to get in and out of things, but like we are people that have to live with this forever. You're just doing like a pride campaign that's gonna last like a month and then you go back to your regular content, but like we are queer people, like this is who we
yeah,
are.
we can't just hide that for 11 months and
Yeah.
then come out and, you know,
So
like,
it sucks. It really does, because there's like a huge imbalance. Obviously, there's an imbalance of any job that you do, whether it's like by gender or whatever the case may be. It's just like it sucks. But
Yeah.
I definitely think like when we started doing influencing, it was just in such a different spot, and I think it's a great thing. We talked about this in our last podcast. I think it's a great thing that like everybody wants to do this, but I think because like everyone's doing it, number one, and that we are in a recession, we're actually starting to see a lot of influencers starting to start over themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that has been very healing for us because I think we felt a lot of guilt and feeling like, oh, maybe doing this full time wasn't what we thought it was. And I think a lot of things in life are just like not what you think it is. Like you hype something up so much and then you get to it and then it's like, okay, like this, I could see how people like this, but I'm also like,
It's not as good as.
it's kind of like New York. Hyped it up so much. I still, to this day, think it's a great city to live in and to visit and all of that. But, like,
It's not perfect.
no,
But in my
nothing
head, I
can
was
be.
like,
It's just
perfect.
a place.
Yeah.
And you just have to make it what you can. That's the whole reason why people talk highly about something is because they made it what they wanted it to be, whether they had, like, a lot of friends or, like, they went out every day, tried new restaurants, like, but there could be another person that can't afford to do any of that, can't afford to have friends, can't afford to go to restaurants, can't afford to go to parks or whatever. So then their experience is horrible.
Yeah.
But like in the end, it's just a place and everyone can live in a place. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's been interesting.
Yeah. Because we thought, like, moving to Texas, we would be, like, so fulfilled doing this job. We'd have all hours of the day to be putting into this job. But I think we realized after a few months that, like, when this is all that you do, you don't really have much inspiration to like make those creative juices flow to make videos if you're not experiencing like life.
Yeah.
So we kind of got caught in this bubble where we're like,
This is all we wished for.
if we were like making money on social media, we would have money to go out and do things to make videos about, because in New York you could just walk outside and be inspired because there's just so much to do. Or like we keep saying, like us just standing outside in New York, people would like eat it up. They'd be like, oh my god, it's New York City in the background.
But I think the problem is like you have to make a lot of money to be able to do that. It's not just like making like $500 or whatever. Like we would obviously be like very thankful for that, but it's like, okay, like if you are getting a whole brand deal, you keep all that money, but then you have to make sure that you have that money for your taxes at the end of the year. So now I have to put like 25% of that away. Now I'm down to like 300 or whatever. And then it's like, you're still struggling.
Yeah, because $500 isn't paying the
nothing.
rent for every month.
Anywhere.
So we just got stuck in this bubble where we're like, okay, we haven't, made money in a while, or like we know that we're not going to make money next month because we didn't get anything this month, because you don't get the money until like 30 days later. So then we're like, well, we kind of can't do anything or go anywhere because we have to save this money for the next deal or whatever. But then when you're just stuck inside, like you're kind of limited to like what you can do for videos. And so then we were just like,
I think it also
stuck.
is hard when you are doing this full time. You have so much time to self-criticize yourself too.
yes, for sure.
Because when you have another paycheck coming in from like an actual job, it's like, okay, like this video didn't do well, that's fine because I have like a real job, like with real money coming in and I know it's coming in. I don't have to second guess if I'm going to make money or not. But like now it's like we're just doing this, so it feels like, oh, okay, that didn't do well, and I decided to do this, so now I'm a failure, or I shouldn't have done this, or what are my parents gonna think? What is this person gonna think? And then there's just so much more like pressure on you as
Yeah.
a person, and you just start to like self-criticize everything that you do because it's like this was a you decision. Like you finally put yourself first and your mental health first to do this full time, but since it's not working out or not working out fast enough, then it feels like, okay, like maybe I'm silly for ever thinking that this could be something. But like obviously things take time, and for some people they are a superstar overnight, and some people have been doing this since Vine days and still haven't made their mark yet. But it still doesn't take away the fact of like, damn, like there are people that are getting everything that they want and need within days, and then other people that aren't. And I think too, I think it's important as an influencer to also like realize that like this job is just kind of, I like this as a job, but I also was hearing that mom say that like it is kind of like shitty to like hear how much money people are making while her son cannot like land a apartment by himself in this economy.
Yeah. No,
And
I
it's
feel
like we
like
just give all this money to these people and give all this time and energy, and like some people have been like working their asses off for years and can't even have a vacation day with their family.
yeah. No, I hate to like say this, but these have been my feelings for a long time, and I really do think that like TikTok has like ruined America like as a whole.
Yeah, because Instagram never, you just saw photos of people on vacation. There was no like information about the vacation. Like you would see like stories and like a carousel of the vacation, but then it was like, okay, that was a cute vacation. But TikTok, it's like so much detail about everything.
It's too much information, and
Yeah.
it's like completely skewed all of us on like what's real life, like even me, because like, and I know that you find like some inspo in like hearing what people make, but like I feel like for me, like when I hear so many people in a row that are like, oh, I'm making 200K a year and I'm an influencer or something, and it's just like it's just so
And they
not
started
real.
like 6 months
It's
ago.
like unrealistic. And then I've got caught up in like the well, like, because I'm an influencer and we make money occasionally that I'm like I would never get that much money, like a chunk at once, like doing any other job, at least not right now because I don't have a college degree. And I'm grateful for that and like all the experiences that we've had, but I also get caught up myself and I'm like, okay, but like I'm not making what
Yeah.
Alex Earl's making. I'm not going on vacations like Alex Earl's going on or whatever. But then I like have to step back sometimes and I'm like, I literally like grew up in a household where like occasionally we would have like the lights shut off and we were on food stamps and we were living in like really poor conditions, sometimes living with friends, and like I would have killed just to make any kind of money by making silly little videos.
Very true.
But like I think we've all become like so out of touch with like reality because of
It's
this app.
really bad.
And I think TikTok has ruined the economy because now there's so many people that are making 200K or more, or millions
That's
of
not
dollars a year
normal.
by making videos, so they can buy such expensive products, which is making just the prices of everything rise. Like I genuinely feel like
It's so
obviously
bad.
COVID affected the economy too, but I feel like the amount of people making so much money right now is so abnormal because it used to be
wasn't like this. Like even when like Addison and like Bryce Hall and like the Hype House world started, like you knew that they were buying houses and making a lot of money, but like that there was like a select few of them. There was like maybe like 10 of them. Now it's like everybody is making 200K, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then now it's like if you are an influencer, you're like making 200K, and then if you like just started like 2 years ago, now you can't make that because they already made it, and then the rest of us all are just like dirt poor,
yeah.
and like everyone just wants to like put all the money towards the influencers and put all the stuff towards them, and it's really sad because she's like really trying to like get her son like to be able to like find a housing and like be able to like have a job that like he can live off of and actually like take care of his children in. And like the fact that like we're just like, oh, Alex Earl, or oh, this person, let's give them all of this, like give them all these products, give them like the freaking those car dealership brand deals, let's have them drive across the country just for fun,
Like what
test
is the
drive
reason
my-
for all of this? Like
what
it
is
just-
the end goal of that?
it's just gotten like so bad. Like an influencer making like makeup videos or whatever like should not be making more than what a doctor sees a year.
Yeah,
That's like
that's
not
a whole
okay.
nother
Like it's
thing.
just really it like really makes me frustrated, and I feel like sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, can I talk about this if I'm literally trying to do the same thing? But I feel like there has to be some type of limit to it because it's just like eventually doctors aren't going to want to be doctors because they could be an influencer and make more money, you know? And like being a doctor is a very stressful job. It's just gotten so
I think it's good though that you being an influencer, you are self-aware to understand that this job is kind of a problem. Because I think there's
It's
a lot
such
of
a
people
problem.
that do this as a job, don't see the issue at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that you're self-aware enough to understand that there are big cons to this job that are literally affecting the economy, the mental health of our generation.
Well, I
We
think
are all
that's
like the
why
cause of it.
I think this is another thing too that makes me so angry, and like this job, like not doing this job has made me angry, but like I think it's TikTok, because like Instagram, you don't learn all this stuff about people. Like it's just pictures and like
I don't know anything about
cute
anyone on
videos. But
Instagram.
TikTok has gotten so open.
It's crazy too because even like YouTube is like such long format and you can like learn so much about a person, but somehow you can learn so much with a 1 minute video than you can ever with like a 10 to 20 minute video on YouTube.
No, I know.
It's
It's
crazy.
really crazy. But something that makes me so angry is I'll see videos of like these like how much do you make in a year videos. And like someone will be like, I make 80K, but like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And I know that we kind of argue on this sometimes, but I'm just like, I get that like 80K might not be completely comfortable in this like climate, but also like when we were in New York, I literally made 14K a year.
Yeah.
Like that is so, I mean, outside of influencing, but we also didn't make that much influencing. So like I just like hate hearing that because I feel like it's just so disrespectful to people who like are actually like making 20K a year still, like,
Yeah.
and are living fine.
I
Like,
mean, I guess it might be like, I think it makes a big difference if you are by yourself. So if you're
yes.
like born and raised in New York and like you can't leave or whatever and you're making 80K by yourself and you don't want roommates, it might not take you very far. You might be able to find something, but you're probably not gonna do much of what you would want to
Yeah.
do. You
Or
can make
like,
it by though. I think that's where they don't specify like living paycheck to paycheck. I feel like is like extreme, but you might not be able to go out to eat. You might not be able to buy nice clothes, but like a lot of people can't
that's
do that.
normal. No, I
Yeah.
think, sorry, not to talk about this for
Yeah.
too much longer, but like, I think the only people who can talk about living paycheck to paycheck are people who grew up living paycheck to paycheck. I feel like if you didn't grow up that way, it's hard to actually understand, because I saw this girl make a TikTok the other day and she said, here are my like my budgeting, like she had like her budget sheet about how she's going to like pay for things and like where her money is going to for the month. And she said, as like a 20 something year old living paycheck to paycheck. So I was like, okay, let me like watch this video. And she had like her rent, her groceries, and whatever, but she also was specifically budgeting to get her nails done, to go out to
Entertainment.
dinner,
Yeah.
to go like to like a show or like a concert every week. And I'm like, that's
People
not
that
living
are
paycheck to
poor
paycheck.
don't even have the choice to buy or go anywhere.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
not living paycheck to
actually rent
paycheck.
and groceries, and that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can fit the utility bill in there, but
And I think it's also, it just stems from like, we know too much about people
yeah,
that are making money, to the fact where people who have money think that they're living paycheck to paycheck, but
which is
they're
horrible.
spending all their money and not saving anything. But like,
Or they're
you
just
could
not
save that
able
money.
to be comfortable. I think comfortability is a whole nother thing where like you can pay your rent, you could pay your utilities, and you could go to a couple concerts, and you could have a nice car, and you could go on a vacation here and there. That is comfortable. But like I think most of the United States is not comfortable, but they're not living paycheck to paycheck. And I think
Yeah.
that's where people are getting their words like mixed up, because you're not living paycheck to paycheck if you're even able to budget.
Like getting your nails done is like $60. Like that's not living paycheck to
But bare
paycheck.
minimum, like if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you can't really budget. There is no budget.
Yeah.
You just there's no budget. The paycheck is towards rent and utilities, and that's
Yeah.
it.
You
Now
can't
you're
budget
done.
because your money you're making probably doesn't cover all that you're paying.
it's very hard to not compare yourself to people on social media. There's just so much happening, and there's just nothing that can be done with that. I think the damage is done, and we just have to try to revert back to who we were as people before this happened, because I think the damage is just honestly done. And so now I think you and I, since we have done this for about 3 years now, I think we still have a love for it, but I think that love for social media as a job has definitely changed in the last few months, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think at first it felt like, wow, like I'm letting my childhood self down or whatever. But I don't think this will ever be something that we stop doing. But I definitely think because the world has changed so much, it's important to like be smart with our future. And there's a lot of things that we want to have in life. We want to have a house. We want to be able to like make a purchase like that and like feel fulfilled in life and not like always be scrambling for like where am I gonna get this money from and is this brand gonna pay me for this. That doesn't feel good. Like
It
even if the
doesn't.
job is fun at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good to like have to beg a brand to pay you when you could just have a paycheck.
Yeah, and I think something I've realized too is that like I love doing our TikTok together,
Yeah.
but like when I start scrolling on TikTok, like I just like get like I'm just like so exhausted about the things that I see. Like it's just like taking a toll on me, and I think it's good to take breaks like no matter who you are. But like it's kind of just made me like literally I guess like a love and hate relationship with TikTok, especially because everyone is like so open on there. No, like I love posting on our account, but then I hate the scrolling, and a lot of times I don't even scroll too much anymore because I just like get mad about things so easily.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like also I think it's a good thing because I do think it's like so unreal. Like it's so unrealistic everything that I see on there. And I just don't want it to like change who I am or like change my thoughts and feelings about myself. That you can literally get up and restart your life at any point. And I think that's such a beautiful thing because I think
It is.
oftentimes we feel so stuck, like whether you're in a job and you can't get yourself to quit it or you're like so scared of quitting that job, you're the only one holding yourself back from that change.
Isn't that so crazy that like you can just start your life over one day? Like you can just wake up and be like, I don't want to do this job anymore. And then you just apply for a different one. And if you get it, now your whole career has changed. Or you can like get up and be like, I really don't like the city I live in. And then if you save enough money and you have enough money to do a move and you get approved for an apartment, you can just pack your bags and just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy? I think we just get so like caught up in our heads of like, oh well, like I've been at this job for a year or 2 or 3, and I just feel like I can't like leave. But you can.
You literally can do anything. Like
It's amazing.
I think we literally trap ourselves
I do it all the
into
time.
certain situations, but like if you literally just step back and just say, why am I doing this? I literally don't need to. But I think sometimes it takes like kind of hitting rock bottom. Like
Yeah.
I always talk about this, but like I worked at this retail job, like literally such an unserious job, but like I just like put in my head that like I couldn't quit this job. Like it was just too big of a like thing, too big of a change in my life. But it
Well, I
was
do think
literally
sometimes it's scary. Like once you have been somewhere for so long and you get to know the manager, you get to know your colleagues, and then it feels like when you do quit, everyone knows you and hears about it. So then everyone else is like asking you, like, "Oh, why are you leaving? Is everything okay?" And it's like a lot of pressure versus
It
if you
is.
just like started and then quit. No one knows who you were, so it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't feel like it matters as much. 'Cause
Yeah.
you didn't like put your foot down in the job much. But I can see how like after being somewhere for a year, it just kind of feels like you can't leave. But the fact that you did leave, you felt like so much better.
Yeah.
It's like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
No, I know. I think we just sometimes like put these like expectations on ourselves to like stay at the job for like the longest time ever, or like a relationship. Like some people will stay in the same relationship for like years and years and years,
Yeah.
knowing they're unhappy, but they just feel like it's a big change and like it's a whole like turnaround in your life, and that's a hard thing to like adjust to. But I think that's why sometimes it does take to like getting to your last straw to actually do that thing. And I think that's okay, because like sometimes I'm so scared to do something and I just have to let myself like get so worked up about it that finally I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But it's so cool that like no matter how it happens, you can always get up and restart.
I was just gonna say, there's a creator that we have watched for like years, Paige Sikorsky, and she is like YouTube OG. Like we've been watching her for years. She was probably one of the people that like convinced us to like move to New York, and we love her content. And she's been doing this for so long, and she just recently said that like she just feels so unfulfilled doing this job. And I thought that was really crazy, because I felt like she was somebody that like she always has friends. She seems like the popular girl in like every group, and like is always going out and about. And like I feel like we definitely had two different experiences in our New York days, but like she was like able to like being a full-time influencer in New York City while we were still like working dead-end jobs. And like I was so shocked to like hear that she's actually going abroad and going back to school. She already has a degree and she's trying to go into something else. We don't know what it is yet, but I thought it was very interesting to see someone that has done this way longer than us and made it way longer than us and is still feeling that unfulfillment. And she was talking about how like when she made it a full-time job, it wasn't as fun, it wasn't as inspiring, because you're just stuck in this thing. And like because you made it full-time, like self-employment, because you made that your full-time thing, that was once obviously a hobby. So now you made your hobby your job, and now you're just stuck in this bubble. Whereas if you have like a 9 to 5, like even if you don't like your 9 to 5, you can have hobbies that you don't make money off of. That's like your thing to do after work. But when you make your hobby your job, it's like, it's just not fun.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to like hear somebody like that like say that she just doesn't feel fulfilled, and that she is going back to school, even though like this career obviously has worked for her and she's made enough money to like sustain the life that she wanted to. And it really goes to show that like you could put so much time and effort into something and it just might not feel fulfilling.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they sometimes say like to not make your hobbies your job, because anything that's like fun, when it becomes money based, it becomes a job. It's not for fun anymore, because if it was for fun, it's something that you do to like relieve your stress and to do just for leisure, but then it becomes for money, and then you have to like put more thinking into it, and it's not as creative. Like that's what happened with us, I think. And we've only been doing this for 4 months, and
It hits.
we already are like, and I thought I was like crazy, because I was like, I should be like having the time of my life, and like it should be so much easier to make videos because I'm not stressed
And
out.
she said that she'd rather be in school doing like 7 different classes and social media at the same time, because she works better that way, which I can see how that sounds crazy, because why can't you just make a video when you're not doing anything versus having 700 things to do in the day and then you have to like squeeze in a video. But I understand that completely.
Yeah. I think you just have to like, literally my favorite thing about life is that like whatever calls to you, I think you should go for it and try it. And if it doesn't work out, or you realize it's not what you wanted, like you now know that. Like there's just never a bad thing in trying something new, because you either find out this is actually what I dreamed about and this is what I love, or you realize like this didn't work out, it's not for me. But now you don't have to wonder.
See, I'm so happy you feel that though, because I feel like
Yeah.
your old self didn't feel that, or like maybe felt that a little bit, but wasn't confident in yourself to try something new like this.
To do social media full time?
Not even just to do social media full time, but just to like not only have one thing that you need to do. Like if you say you're going to be a social media content creator, that's the only thing that you can do. Now you're thinking about going back to school and like doing something so completely different, so opposite of social media and creativity and stuff. And you're testing it out. And like I feel like old you would have been scared to do that. I feel like you would have just continued to do what you were doing before, and not feeling like you can like wean into things.
Yeah, that just made
Yeah.
me think about how.
Me too. I was always so scared to like try different things, but now I'm like, well, hey, I'm in Texas now. I might as well try this job. I suck at it. I go to something else.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna say that, like, I think. Hold on, I am blanking on what I was gonna say. Oh, I feel like we hear so often to not get too comfortable. And I think that's like a good thing to have, like to not get stuck in like the day to day and like, trying new things is good for you. But I think I had that too much in my head where I was like, if I'm if I stay in my hometown, like that's boring, I'm not experiencing, I'm not growing. And I'm so glad I left my hometown, and I'm so glad I did New York, because like that was a dream that I always wanted to experience. But New York, I also wasn't comfortable, but I was too uncomfortable, where like it was too much for me.
Yeah.
And then now that I'm in Texas, I keep having these feelings where I'm like, should I move back to New York? Because I was actually like experiencing things, and like it felt cool to live there. But I think I'm just uncomfortable with feeling stagnant. And now I'm realizing, and maybe it's just like, I'm in my mid 20s now. So like now I've experienced a lot more than I ever thought I would. So now I'm at this point where I'm like, being comfortable is actually a very good thing. It's good to not feel like super stressed out and like uncomfortable. But now it's opening up like the thought of going back to school, because I've been wanting to go to school in general for like the past few years, and then I just like was always in like a rough spot or something that I couldn't fully start it. But I'm like, well, now that I'm here and I actually feel relaxed, like why would I go back to New York?
And just mess everything up.
And then I just get that gets pushed back even further, and like it's something
Yeah.
that's been heavy on my mind anyway. But like I was like, I know I can't do this living in New York, because I'll be so distracted and just so overwhelmed that I just don't. I was just so depressed in New York, even though it was a dream for me. I was too depressed to even do school. I actually did sign up for school for 2 days, and then I tried to complete like one assignment, and I was like, I can't do
I was gonna
this.
say like New York is also just a really hard place to like do school and work at the same time. Like at least out here, like we're in the outskirts of Austin, so it feels so peaceful. I feel like I could actually see you like getting your work done and like having the time and like mental space to be able to study and like even have extra time to look at things and like do the next week's assignment or whatever, versus in New York it's just like the events and this is happening and a concert's happening and this is happening and your friends want you to go here. There's just so many
And then
distractions.
also working and
Yeah.
then doing school at the same time. Like,
And everything in New York is open until like past midnight. So like you could be working nights, mornings. At
Yeah.
least here, like things wind down by like 7.
yes. And I think that's such like a beautiful thing, because I
Yeah.
think I got almost too caught up in like the experiencing things and like looking cool on Instagram and stuff. And that was like really fun. Like sometimes I'm like, I did feel really cool living in New York, but like that's not like going to get me anywhere in life,
No,
you
because
know?
if you don't feel cool, like if you just feel cool based on social media, but you don't actually feel cool in your heart or you're not even having fun inside of yourself, then it's just like
There's no
there's no
point.
point of living like that for multiple years on end
Yeah.
on purpose.
And like I think New York was so overwhelming for me that like just being in like the city streets, and then like the subway being so loud, and like people like spitting on me on the train and stuff like that.
Overwhelming.
Like by the time I got home from work, and I was working part-time, like even then I was so overwhelmed that like I had to like come home and like cry to like debrief just from like the noises of the city and stuff. And I just like couldn't do school in that environment. But like this is now my chance to finally get to complete that and be in a calm environment. And I would be doing it online, and we would still be doing social media. And I think me having school and then a part-time job or a full-time job, like I just think I would be more inspired anyway to post on our TikTok and stuff. For school, I've been thinking, I originally like was going to go for psychology, but I realized that I'm not like a people person at all. Um, and I think I've kind of like officially decided, and I've kind of known for the last few years that this is what I'm going to do, but I've really been wanting to get a degree in computer science.
Slay.
And
That's my smart honey. I'm so
I
proud
think
of
it's going to
you.
be really hard though, but I know that like the job itself fits me so well, and um, I'm excited. I'm worried for school, but I also know that like I have a much better chance of completing it living here, and like our apartment is so spacious now. It's not dark in here. It's very inspiring in this apartment, and I feel like that will help a lot with getting through school.
I just want to say I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I feel like I've seen you grow so much in the last few years, and I feel like we are both such different people than we were when we first met each other. And I feel like we've been through so much as a couple, but also so much separately as people. And it's just really cool to see you finally like find a place where like mentally you feel well and like emotionally you feel well enough to like try this one more time and like be able to achieve it. And I know you will, and it might take some time, and I know it's gonna be hard, but like I love that I'm able to still be here with you to like see your growth, and I can't wait for you to get your degree and to rock this freaking job.
Thank you, babe.
My computer science baby.
I hope so. And
No, you're gonna
Isabel has
kill
been
it.
thinking a little bit more too about
I
things.
don't know what the hell I'm doing, y'all. I think I've been interested in going into like digital marketing, which I feel like is really hypocritical of the last 40 minutes that I just talked to you about of like not making your hobbies your job. But I do really enjoy like a lot of the social media aspect and maybe not being the influencer side of things and maybe being on the back end of like working with influencers or working with other like companies and stuff. Maybe that would be better for me than for me to be the creator and to have to give all of my creativity away instead of just being the person to do the emails and to reach out and doing that types of stuff. So I definitely think I might go into like digital marketing. I have a bachelor's in psychology, so I don't really know how that works. I think they can like interchange.
I think psychology is kind of interchangeable with
It's
anything.
kind of like communications.
And
It's
then
kinda,
you have like our social media as like
Yeah.
an entire portfolio.
Yeah.
So I really do think, because the big job we were talking about earlier that Isabel did an interview for with the whole project, that
it's
was
freaking Burrow, man.
yeah, that was first a social media like manager.
Really cool. It was like a content creator thing where I had to like do like social media strategy for a brand, but then I was able to like go down to Brooklyn and like go to this really cool loft and like be on set for like photo shoots of like furniture, and I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So if I would able to be, whoa, if I was able to do something like that, I think that'd be really cool. But I have to like do a little bit more research into that. But I think both of these would fit us perfectly: computer science and digital marketing, or something in digital marketing. Um,
But
yeah.
like doing social media and like this podcast will always be something that's a part of us. Like
Oh,
that's
we're never
not,
gonna stop this. You're never gonna
Yeah.
stop hearing us yap.
I think like we're just like thinking of other alternatives because this isn't necessarily making us any money at the
Well,
moment.
that, but I also just don't want to like lose the fun in this. And I
Yeah.
think I'm putting too much effort and time and like stress into this. That's just making it not fun for us together, but also separately. Because now we're not even really posting on our separate ones either.
Yeah.
Because I just want to like be away from it. So I want to like feel that itch to do it again. I don't think I would ever do this full time again though. I think I would always at least have like a part-time job or something with it. But I just want to like miss it again. I feel like
Yeah.
I am not there right now.
Because I feel like whenever like I would come home from work, even if it was like a bad day or something, that it like I kind of had to come up with things on like a whim because you did just work all day. But now that we just like sit here in our thoughts about like what to post, like we just don't
And DoorDash
post.
has helped a lot now that like we're getting
Yeah.
out of the house and like not like on the phone all day. But yeah, it's like just sitting there scrolling and like scrolling through nonsense just to get to like the one trend that you wanted to do is like it's a lot for the brain. And it's just like it can get aggravating sometimes. So I definitely want to like be in a space where I can miss it and not have to like rely on the money so heavily, because we don't do this for the money, and we talked about that in the last episode. Like that is like the last thing that we care about, but because we chose to do this full time, obviously money in any type of job is the goal, because you need to like pay your rent and pay your stuff that you owe. So I just want to like miss it again.
Yeah. And the cool thing about doing social media, if this is something that's like on your mind, is that it can be a hobby. And then when it does make money, that's extra money just to have by doing something that you like.
Yeah.
But we don't really like having to depend on it for money.
I also
which
think
is
it's
what
hard
happened.
because we are in a relationship too. We're not individual people. So when we're doing content and we like, are like fighting or whatever, but like you can't miss a day of posting, it just feels like heavy on our relationship to have to like come up with something. Or like sometimes like when we're fighting, I'll do a video and she won't be in it, or like she'll do a video and I won't be in it, and then it just like it's supposed to be both of us, you know?
Yeah.
And it just like I feel like it's harder on a relationship too.
Well, it's just
Versus
also
like,
not normal to be like marketing your relationship for money. Like, you know?
but I feel like we do a good job with it though.
No, we do, but I just mean that like I feel like it's hard not to do that when
Yeah.
you are full time because you're trying to make money to survive. But when it's just like for fun, it was more of just like whatever came to us and whatever we're going through or experiencing. But like now we're kind of having to like we don't make stuff up, but like you kind of have to like
You want to make it interesting for
Yeah.
people, and you want to make it interesting enough for you to have to sit there and edit it.
and it's
'Cause
hard
if
to
it's not
be
fun, then
it's hard to be interesting when you're not experiencing life because you're like sitting on your phone all day like looking for different trends. So that's just kind of where we are in life right now, and whatever career you're in and doing, if it's not what feels right, it's totally okay to switch that. And I've seen so many TikToks of like you told me, like people like restarting their entire life and like going back
they're like,
to school.
I'm 29 and I don't like the job I'm doing. I don't like the friends I have. I don't like the way I'm like spending my days. And they're like restarting everything, going back to school, ghosting all their friends, making new ones, going to different places, like getting into the gym or cutting back on the gym. Or I think it's so cool
It's
because
so
I think there's
cool.
a whole thing about like getting to your 30s. I'm 26 and like my 30s scares me so much, but there's so many people that are saying like your 30s are like the best years because like you spent like 10 years just doing such crappy jobs and like being treated so awfully, and like now you're like 30 and you've had all these years to like do the bad stuff, and now you are like coming into yourself a little bit more. You know your triggers, you know things that like you don't like, you know the jobs that you can't handle, you know like what's too much for you and what's too overwhelming, and now you can actually like live your life. And I think that's really exciting. And I think a lot of people being in the middle of their 20s or in their late 20s, they feel like their life is coming to an end, and like you just spent so much money getting your bachelor's but you don't even like the degree that you're in. But I'm just like, hey, it feels like the world is about to end, so you might as well just go back to school, try something else out. You can't afford the loan from the first time, you might not be able to afford the loan the second time, but like it's just like
Life
it doesn't
just
matter.
goes
If you
on.
can't pay the first one, you can't pay the second one, so it doesn't really matter. You might as well just take out another loan and just keep trying different it's just like it doesn't matter.
Well, I think one thing that I'm starting to learn about being in your 20s, and I'm 25, so I'm only halfway through them, but I think I'm realizing that like just keep doing whatever feels right and stop doing what doesn't feel right. And I feel like
Yes.
it sounds harder than it is sometimes, but you just have to like go by what you're feeling. Obviously make like informed decisions, don't like be
Yeah.
impulsive, because then you might end up like ruining something that actually was good. But I do think that like when things don't feel right, like assess them and like figure out how to change that or quit that situation, and then try something else, because that's literally 20s is just about experiencing things, so that when you hit your 30s you already know what you like, and you're always going to be obviously experimenting with who you are and always finding out new things about yourself.
Yeah.
But your 20s is just such like a core time in that, and I just think it's so important to like try new things and move to the new city,
Yeah.
end the relationship, start the new relationship or friendship,
Or be by yourself.
or be
and
by
enjoy
yourself.
being single. Enjoy like working on yourself as a person. If there's things that like you think are toxic about yourself, like open yourself up and like try to figure out like what is causing these people to like want to not be around me, or like what are the things I like about me, or like what are the things I don't like about me, and taking that time to like figure those things out about you, because that's going to make your next relationship so much easier, because you know the ins and outs of yourself. And I think a lot of people just get into relationships and have no idea who they are as a person, and I think that makes things really hard to like connect with another person for more than just a year. So I think it's important to just like you said, like get in another relationship or be by yourself, and just it's just like I think that like there's really no end goal. I think the end goal for everybody is to be happy. And to be happy is such a broad term. I think for some people, happiness is money. So they need to have as much money as possible. And if that's what they need, then like that's the goal. But other people, happiness is having financial freedom. So like not being in an apartment with rent or a mortgage, and just being out in the world and nature. And if that's like your happiness, then go for that. Like don't let anybody tell you anything, just because we don't know how much longer we're on this earth, period. Because the world literally feels like it's going to explode. Number one. But number two, it's just like you just don't know when your last day is. So like if you just keep spending every day like stressing about this and that, and I know like certain situations are very hard, and like a lot of people feel like they can't like get out of their situation, and that's a whole nother thing. But like if you have the money and you have the privilege and means to like get up and move, or like change your job, I think you should. I think it can change you so much as a person.
Yeah.
And it's never late. It's never too late.
It's never too late. And I also want to add that, like, as someone who has like mental health issues,
Slay.
like I know what it feels like to feel hopeless about things,
Yeah.
and to feel like you're never going to achieve this thing or get out of the mindset that you're in. But I think as long as you just keep going and literally doing your best, not the best, but your best, I think that is the only way to push through that situation. And it's gotten me here. I have like a beautiful relationship. I now know that I'm like where I need to be in life, and like I'm in the city that I should be in for this stage of my life. And I hope that just gives you some sense of hope. And now that I did New York, I feel like my next
That was
the way you're smiling. Thank you. I feel like my next adventure is probably going to school. Which kind of brings us to like our question of the day, which is, what dream do you have that you feel is impossible to achieve? And I think we all constantly have something that's like linger in the back of our head that's like, I'm doing this job, but like my dream job is this, or my dream place to be is this. And I just want to hear what you guys like have as your dreams, because maybe there's someone in the comments who's doing that dream that can give you some advice. And I thought that'd be like a cool little like chat to have in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, like school's not easy, so that's like my next step, is like getting through that. But it's also exciting because there is an end goal in it, and there's going to be an end to it if I just keep going.
I think that's a beautiful way to end. I feel like I can't even add to that. I think that was like literally perfect.
Well, I'm glad. If you guys don't already know, we do post these on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify. But can also follow us on Mutual Minds Pod on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
And we'll have new episodes every Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed this.